Today's video is probably going to divide a lot of my audience. Now, this is Dave. Dave's our T25 or VW Vanagon, and I bought him with a very, very low budget. It didn't cost a lot relatively, and I knew he had a few things to fix, but I'll be honest with you, it was a lot worse than I expected. There's holes in this thing that I've never seen holes in those places. Mechanically, it's absolutely shot, so the gearbox has had it. It's leaking oil out, needs new seals. The engine blew up on the way home in the very first run because the seller didn't put the proper tinware on, and it's just been generally a nightmare since I bought it. So every time I've gone out, it's broken down, and it's always got us home, but just. So yeah, it's been a bit of a nightmare. I would have liked to have restored it back to a decent roadworthy state, but the amount of money it would cost me to do that is more than the other van actually cost. So basically I want to use parts from this to make that one better, because weirdly places in this are actually decent, not very good in the other van. So I'm going to use the best of both to make one really good van, hopefully. I'll sell whatever I can, like the wheels and stuff, because I'm not too keen on them anyway. And say bring some money back in for what I've spent and effectively lost so far with it. But the lower half is going to get chopped off and made into a bar. Now, I've seen loads of bars made with bay windows online, so that if you do a search, I think they use the panels, they buy the panels and make a kind of a side and a front part to the bar, and it looks like a bay window. I've never seen one with a 25 or a Vanagon, so this may be a first. Now, this video is going to take probably a good 6 months or so in parts, so I'm sat here in the frost. Hopefully by the end of it I'll be sat with my feet up in the sun with a beer in my hand. Let's see how it goes. Right, the vague plan is this line here is where I'm going to be chopping, so I want to keep the entire section. I'm not just taking the skin, I'm going to have the inside and the outside. I'm going to chop all the way along here, under the window. I'm keeping the door, I may have to weld it in place, I don't know. Chopping under the window. Oh, there's a lot left there. Along the swage line, to the corner here, under the windscreen. And we're going to keep this entire section. So I'm going to kind of keep it as a solid one piece if I can. We're going to lift that down into the garden. That will be the base for what we're going to create. And I plan to use some stock looking wheels like this. Hello! Now with the bodywork on the ground, I imagine the arch will be halfway down this wheel, so it's going to be a proper slammed looking stance, and I like that. I've already picked up some cheap wheels and tyres, some of it actually quite good, so I'm going to be using those. The rubbish ones and the short tyres will become wheels for the Dave bar. Before we can drag Dave into the garden, we need to make some kind of platform. To do that, I'm using these old pieces, which are proper old-fashioned concrete flags. I know they ain't pretty, but you're not going to see most of them. Basically, my brother-in-law was having these removed from his house, the workmen had pulled them up, and before they got disposed of, I went across town and scooped them all up. I could only get about 5 in the RAV at a time because the suspension was bottoming out, so it took a few trips, but we now have a full set free of charge. Seats out. I'm not sure what these seats are from, but they're pretty decent. I'm finding them quite comfortable. These are going in the van. They do need welding onto the bases properly, however. Look at that mess. Decent seat belts are worth saving these days. Cost an absolute fortune to buy, you know. While I'm doing the seat belt at this side, the plate nearly pulled through the actual bodywork. It's quite scary. So separating this outer section here from the rest of the van is kind of complicated. It took a lot longer than I thought it was going to do. So you have to kind of cut all the way through down to the bottom across the trays. You've got the big chunky hanger or chassis rails there, which I think we are now separate from. It's kind of hard to see, but I'm trying to remove the L section to keep it as one solid piece. I'm probably going to put some door back on because I want to return on the edge of the bar. There we go, that's got it. As I've been cutting things away from the roof, the door and the back section have kind of started to move apart. So I just basically bodged these on quite quickly, just drilled them in just to hold the door and things in place. Chances are I may have to weld it once it's all down or even possibly before I move it, depends how strong this is, I guess. This next little bit is proving to be a little bit tricky. See, from the inner wing we cut down to here, and then we get to the suspension parts. From underneath we've cut through the floor, and we come across the cross member here. Now I'm wanting to leave the cross member here, but I want to retain this channel because it gives the van strength, especially when it's been lowered down to the garden, because I don't want it folding in half ideally. So somehow we're going to have to separate this bar, this cross member, from the channel. I had to chop most of the bracket away, so we've now got a body lift. So we've cut all the way from the inner wings, all the way across the floor, above the gear shifter, and around the back of the A-pillar. So under the front of the van, we've just got this triangulation chassis rail, I'm not sure what to call it. It goes diagonally from the rails to the edge, and then towards the centre we've got a couple of these chassis rails. I managed to get most of the loom out without damaging it. Forgot to undo the steering box though. That could be a problem. One box removed. Right, right there. Well, the front is free, but with something still attached to the B-pillar. Yet another day to go. I've just added a triangulation bar, so hopefully it kind of keeps some of its shape. So it's so heavy it's likely to bend and twist, so it might just help take some of that out, and I've plated across the door so the door can't open anymore. Now I do like that look. Just chuck some wheels behind to kind of mock, see what it might look like. That looks pretty badass, I like it. Gonna have to do some more chopping here to get the bodywork out of the way so we can get the wheel in a bit closer and to get the table up tight. Hoping to use a couple of stainless tables I've got, or table and tabletop. I'm born to be a scrap man, but I'm not one. They were picked up for nothing. And then some kind of top over here and the barbecue, so I can do food prep over there. Right, we've got some work to do. This is why you've got to be careful when you buy vans that have been welded up. I've removed the plates from over the top, and yeah, the suspension mount's barely hanging on there. Oh dear, the front quarters are exactly the same. Now that is scary. To get the wheels as outboard as possible, I've chopped all the bodywork away on both sides, so the front and the back. However, it still interferes with the legs, as does the bodywork down here. So we've dissected the table, so the back legs have now gone and they'll be supported on the edge of the bar. Front legs remain. Hopefully these bits will be useful somewhere else. The other section was actually made in two pieces, so that's been chopped in two, and they'll become two lengths of bar top, but a little bit narrower, so more like a bar. and along the top of here to finish off the nasty cut edge. It's actually galvanised ducting for wires. One of the local schools was throwing it out. I asked if I could have it and they said yes, so another freebie. Had a long day's drilling and cutting and we're getting somewhere. So got most of our metal beam attached. It's cutting off at the end and some of the tables are now bolted on. Bar section for the middle, that's why it's raised up in the air. We're getting somewhere. I had to put a brace bar in, which I didn't measure, so I might have to shorten that because it's a bit of a trip hazard. Basically I found that the bodywork wanted to twist outwards, so the brace across here, as I pulled it this way, levelled it out. So basically I fixed it in position there, stopped it twisting, and the whole thing is now pretty rigid. Although we may have to keep this brace bar in now, which I didn't really plan on doing, so we again may remake that. But we are making decent progress at last. So this section here we've got to do next. Got to level the top piece a bit better, attach the bar, and it'll come to here. Unfortunately, we now have a gap at the end. It's not quite got enough length to reach all the way to the front. And rather annoyingly, I gave the dashboard to the scrap man, so I guess it would have filled that curve perfectly. So I have to come up with some kind of solution for that. I'm not sure if you saw my short, but I found a use for the old hubcaps. Concrete base. Gonna need to buy some flags now. While we're waiting for those flags to arrive, let's build some lights for the garden. I've added some legs that stab quite a long way into the ground. I don't want these things falling over if people kick them. Because a little bulb holder works quite nicely. Finished off the corners, which turned out quite well. At the front, I made this section, which isn't perfect, but it'll do. It's an old rusty bar. And finished off the corner. These are a pair of trampoline bases. There's an 8-foot and a 10-foot base there. And I'm hoping to convert these into a seat. And the seat is going to go around this circle. Right, we are halfway there. Or just over. I had one of these lighting pack kits left over from years ago from when I did the showers and stuff, and never used it. So drill some holes, lights for the bar. This is definitely going to get old soon. I have another cock-up to fix now, however. So at the minute, the seat does not fit on the outside of the turtle as it was measured to do. What I forgot was when I ordered the stone turtle, I ordered the centre section, and I accidentally ordered the wrong size. So I'd ordered the centre one and not the outer ring, and I later ordered the outer ring to extend it to the size it should have been, but I forgot that I'd used the earlier measurement for the seat. So this we need to modify the seat. So the seat's now going to go on the other turtle, which we built earlier, and I need to lower the legs. I probably need to get the jet wash on this because it's had cement mixer sat on it for the last month or two, but looking pretty good. All the stones are laid, and we've got our two turtles. Now the stones we went for the cheapest we could get because we had such a big volume to pay for, and they were limestone chip, but we mixed them with a buff coloured limestone chip as well, 50-50, just to give it a bit of texture. And this is what it's like when it's first laid. It kind of looks all dusty and horrible, but after it's been rained on, the dust goes away. It looks far nicer. It's a good mix, I think. So we are getting there, not far off at all. So our little barn garden is almost done. So the trampoline seat didn't exactly turn out to plan. I've ended up chopping the legs down because I didn't want all the crisscrossy bits on the patio going rusty. I didn't think it'd be strong enough with the legs just stuck down, but it seems to be absolutely fine. It's quite stable. So really happy with that. Now I appreciate the covers on there are pretty blue. So we weren't going to use the covers, we're just going to sit on the springs, on the string, sorry, on the rope. And that felt fine, but when you sat on the cushions, it was so much comfier. So we've chose to use the cushion from the original trampoline base as a cushion. I'm probably going to recover it at some point in the future, so it's not quite as a blue. The burner was a gift from my parents, so thank you, parents. It's their cast-off old burner. Ellen's gone a bit wild with the plants and stuff. She used to be a florist, so she's got connections with the market, so we got them for reasonable money. The pots were a gift as well, old pots, and these were from my mate Craig. They were going to be something else I was going to build, a seat or something, but in the end we just chopped them up and made them into a stand for the planters. So another freebie, thank you Craig. All the little light sculptures, they're working really well. They don't glow up too bright in the daytime, but at night they're pretty good actually, better than I expected them to be. On the wall, these are old light shades from a closed down pub, which I've just screwed to the wall and make pretty good planters. Table and umbrella came from a shutdown pub, so that was a freebie. I'm going to thank Paige for that one, so thanks for those bits and pieces, Paige. And the wife went mental with the chairs and bought a load of chairs from B&M, which vaguely match. Got the badass beer cooler, which I did a video on a long time ago, and so I'll link to that above if you want to see how I made that. It works an absolute treat keeping beers cold. There's ice in there. And we've got the Dave bar. So barbecue set up to go. I've actually got a VW badge on. It's a Beetle one, but it'll do. Bit of fancy lighting. And so we've got a good old scrub up. It's all stainless. And when we're cutting and grinding and stuff, lots of metal stuck to the stainless, so I have to scrub it back with a T-cut and a scouring pad, but it's come up lovely. This was a skip find, which you can use as a cooler for bottles of wine and stuff. Now you may have seen I was getting, I actually fitted a carling pump. So I got a carling pump, a gas bottle which was here, and the cooler down the bottom there. They came off eBay for about 80 quid, which I think was a reasonable buy. However, when I looked into buying beer, you're looking at about 180 quid for a carling barrel, and that works out over £2 a pint, which I don't think is cheap, especially when you look at cans. So if you buy cheap cans like the Bud Lights or the Carlsberg, a pint will actually cost you about 75p if you pour it into a pint glass. So I just couldn't justify buying such a big barrel at that sort of cost. However, I've used the original cooler I bought down here, and I made a cool box. So I'm feeding the cool pipes through there, In there is a cask. So we've got a cask locally for £100, which is 70 odd pints. We rented the pump for a tenner. I will get my own at some point, but say for 10 quid it wasn't worth messing. And we should have on demand nice cool cask beer and backup lager should should we run out. That worked out a lot more cost effective than having the big barrels. So I'll keep the gas for the welding and probably sell the pump on if anybody wants it, an old Carlin pump. We also put some sails up, which if you love your wife I suggest you probably don't do, as they near us caused a divorce. Trying to get the position and somewhere to anchor. I agree where they needed to go, as did keeping the Crazy Frog from the original van. But other than that, we're pretty much good to go. So we've done the whole thing on a really tight budget, and I've got to be honest, really proud of it. I think it looks absolutely amazing. The wife's done an amazing job with all the plants and stuff as well, and helping out with absolutely everything. So yeah, team us. Right, all I need now is some friends. Welcome to the Dave Bar, and it's raining.
This is how we do it.
Is that illegal?
I think that's illegal.
Is that illegal?
And no one cares.
Cheers everybody. Take care. Bye bye.